What's in the building? Do you want to hear 3 situations you must find yourself in or you must put yourself in before you get married? 3 situations what we think are very important because it could determine how you react in the future. Stay tuned, we're about to talk about them right now.
Stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs. If you had a bad day and you're looking for a smile, bringing hope and joy for a day that was wild. Stuff from the cuffs is here to make things bright. In a world so dark, they're bringing some light. Stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs. Go Bria, go Bill, go Bess, go Brian. Stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs.
Welcome back, guys, to another video right here on Stuff from the Cuffs, where we give you fire. We give you fun, inspiration. We're real and we're educational. All right, so this is part 2.
In essence.
Yes, this is part 2 of a video we recently did. So if you have not yet watched that video, I'll make sure to put the suggestion right up here so you can watch it either before or after this video. So we spoke in our last video about some situations that you need to see your future spouse in or your future partner in before you get married. And today we're going to be talking about 3 situations that you must put yourself in with your future spouse or future partner before you get married. So you must intentionally find yourself there before you get married, just so that you can see how your partner responds,
And how you would respond too.
and how you respond to. Yeah, so let's get started.
First one, I think we should leave the best one for last. So the first one is put them in a situation where kids exist. When I say kids, yeah, you may start out with 1 child, 2, 3, but take them for a day at the nursery, or volunteer at a nursery for a day, or take them to a playpen, or take them to a zoo, yeah, and see how they react and interact, or the lack thereof, with children of different ages, children of different temperaments, children of different backgrounds. Why? What do I mean? Why? Because generally speaking, when people get married, they think about children. People get into relationships, they think about the possibility of children. And you will be having children, hopefully, or you will be having children in your environment at some point in time. And it's important to see how the person reacts to it. Yes, in the discussions before marriage, you're going to be talking about, do you want children, how many children? But there's a difference between saying and being in the environment. If you have nieces and nephews, take the person to a family get together. When the kids are running up and down all over the house, tearing down this, tearing down that.
Ask them to babysit.
Ask them to babysit. Tell them, say you need to run. Take them to the family get together and tell them, say you need to run, go to the shop and come back. And leave them in the midst of all of that chaos and see, beautiful chaos of course, and see how they react. Then you will have a better understanding of what it will be like. And I mean, yes, it may or may not be the full extent, because a couple of hours is different from when you have your own child,
Right.
and that is 24/7. But maybe it's the start of putting them in that situation at different times, different age groups, to see how they deal with children.
You know, I watched a video, or it was a movie some time ago, where the girlfriend put the boyfriend in that situation. And he was livid that he did not want the child to touch him. He did not want to be near the children. He was afraid that if they came near him, they would mess up his shirt. You know, the whole works. And so
But some
from
of us
that,
as men are afraid to even hold them.
to
when
hold
they're so
right,
small.
right. But that's completely different. Like,
But suppose he just doesn't want to help you anytime for
no, man.
the rest of that period.
Actually, in the video, it was from that she realized that he did not particularly like children or wanted to have children, but she did not know that before. And so being in that situation, she was wondering why he was so standoffish and kind of abrupt with dealing with them. And so from that, she learned. She wanted to have children. He didn't, but they never had that full conversation. It was just taken for granted in her mind that they would want to have children. And in his mind, because he didn't want to have children, it was never something that he brought up. So, yeah. Next one.
The next one is the opposite of that, meaning putting them in a situation where older persons are. And I think we've probably mentioned this before, but going in depth like this, take them around your grandparents or your parents if they're elderly, or go to a nursing home. I remember going to nursing
Volunteer.
homes when I was at high school or prep school, St. Monica's home, I think it was, and we used to visit and take stuff to the elderly there. And, you know, going to the hospital for hospital visits may even help. Seeing how they respond to the elderly and sometimes those who are not well. Because why? Your parents may be in the picture. You want to see how they're going to treat your parents. Their parents may be in the picture. You want to see how they treat their parents. But more so, you're going to go there. You're going in this relationship for the long haul.
Yeah.
You're going to get old. You're not going to be so healthy at times. You're going to need help. You're going to need assistance. Are they snappy? You know, hurry up, get up, can't get up. Are they impatient? You know, what are they like? And I think this in itself will help you to have a clearer picture of what your future is going to be like.
And you know, when you spoke about that, I remember when we were dating, Brian used to take me around his grandmother and his grandfather. His grandfather is no longer here with us, but I remember him being so fond of me, and he was just, granddad was such a ball of happiness. I remember one day granddad said to Brian, you know, leave her here with me, man. Leave her here with me. And I said, Granddad, why? And then he said, are you a nurse? I said, no, I'm not a nurse. And Granddad said, no, man, night nurse. My pain is getting worse.
Gregory Isaacs.
So, you know, I have pictures with Granddad. I remember even after our wedding, we went and we showed him pictures on the phone because he couldn't attend the wedding and all of that. So, especially if family is something that's very important to you, and your grandparents and the elderly, they're very important to you and an important part of your space. Brian has a lot of friends who are much older than us, from the elderly come right down. And so I always knew that this was a part of something that he loved to do, and he loved to be around older people. And so if I was one of those persons who I don't really want to, then that probably would have posed a problem. So I don't know if he intentionally did that, but he carried me around his much older friends while we were dating.
And, you know, the other part of that is when you made mention that grandpa is no longer here, we touched on it the last time when we talked about hurt people, but I think it's important, and this wasn't one of them, so you're getting a bonus one. Seeing the person and how they deal with grief.
Yeah.
The loss of a loved one, somebody close to them, and how they respond to it. Maybe they are the persons who are just so devastated, and you know they're broken for months upon months, and you will see what they're like, and you'll be able to better prepare for it because grief is gonna come. Or it may be a case where you are broken up and you're torn up, and the person says, "Why are you crying? You don't need to grieve. Death comes, death happens. You can't stop crying." Yeah, like it's been a day, it's been two, it's been a week. Different strokes for different folks, but it's important that you know and you see.
It was a year or less than a year into our marriage that Granddad passed, and I remember we were on our way home late, like after 12. I don't know where we're coming from. We probably went out, and those days, wow. Yeah. And he got the call, and he was silent right after. We were almost home, and we went by, and you know, with family and all of that. But I had to help him through that process, and even recently with the loss of his uncle and all of that. So yeah, it's important to see them in those situations so that you are, and you're not going to necessarily see them because you can't predict or put people in these situations. But when you do, it's important to take notes.
Yeah, this is not a situation you put somebody in.
No.
Don't get twisted. That's not what I put. I said it's a bonus.
We're just
but when it happens,
or if it happens, you take note as to how to help that person through. And the last one?
The last one is relevant to 2021 and the virtual stage and age that we're in. So it was a meme we spoke about it before, seeing persons in slow Wi-Fi. I think it's so much more relevant now.
Even now.
Because slow Wi-Fi is the bane of our existence.
Yeah.
You go by somebody's house and you go in and you say, "Hi, how are you doing? What's up?" Can't be a Wi-Fi password. And the person puts it in, and you're there scrolling through Instagram and it starts buffering. You're there trying to watch a video on YouTube, it starts buffering. WhatsApp message is not coming through as fast. You have to go into. You are Zoom. Upset, you are annoyed, you start quarreling about the service providers, you start quarreling about the person needing to upgrade their plan. You start talking about the data, and it makes you annoyed, it makes you quarrelsome, it makes you upset. As a matter of fact, go to a place where there is no Wi-Fi and see how they deal. Go into the house and the person replies, "Nope, I'm sorry, we don't have the internet."
But them could have out there gone home.
We're not staying. Yeah, and it's a reality. How many of us would go to somewhere and spend an entire afternoon where there's no Wi-Fi? We go to restaurants, we ask, "Do you have Wi-Fi?" We go to different functions, we ask, "Is there a Wi-Fi?" We go to an event to have fun, a banquet, a dinner, and we go in and we're still trying to see if there's Wi-Fi, or we have to have on our data. It's crazy, but it's important.
We were somewhere recently where we expected the Wi-Fi to be of a certain nature, and primarily because we had meetings that we needed to be in while at that particular place, and we needed the Wi-Fi, and we expected to have it because it was a part of we expected to have it. And I remember even when it was so slow, the meetings got affected, and it cut off at one point before we were finished using it, and the whole works. And for us, well, I have gotten used to Wi-Fi problems like outside of home because I know I have no control over it. But when that person is squeezed in 2021 where no Wi-Fi is concerned, have you ever seen a child who is watching a tablet?
Bella, internet goes down. Tablet.
Something wrong with the tablet. Tablet has sail away.
Why the Wi-Fi have to go down?
Why is the internet? I'm balling.
I'm so bored.
Yeah. How does your partner or future partner respond to something that is so essential to our lives in 2021? And it may seem simple to you, but you never really realize how big of a deal it can be until you actually get into that situation.
Listen, when WhatsApp goes down, check the worldwide panic.
Yes.
And you will see. When Instagram goes down, check. When Facebook goes down, check. And you shall see. Well, that's it for now.
Yeah, so that's
check
it
and
for...
see what they're like when the video ends and you're just getting into it and having fun.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Cufflinks, for tuning into another video. This is part 2 of a little mini series, something.
Before you say I do.
Yes, before you say I do these things, all right? Thank you so very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe before you go if you're new. Like, leave us a comment, and yes, we're on our way to 10K by May, God willing. Be sure to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend about stuff from the cuffs. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back soon.